In this video, we're going to take a little bit more of an advanced look at jamming on the ukulele using the song Scarlet Summer that I wrote for my Patreon page after it won this month's lesson vote. Now, hopefully you've already worked through the beginner and intermediate sides of this. Even if you're a more advanced player, I still think it's beneficial to go through those just to get a feel for how the different layers can work together. And in this video, we're going to be looking at some things that are I would call deceptively difficult. They don't look as tricky as they are when you view the tab, but that's what gives us some good teaching opportunities as we go through to get even more layers. So let's go ahead and take a look at the first part here. I'm going to bring the camera down. We're going to start here with our strumming, and you can see the strumming listed here in this way, it looks a little confusing, doesn't it? Well, let's go ahead and listen to what this strumming sounds like with the backing track. Should sound something like this. So unlike earlier parts of this, these chords are way up the fretboard. Earlier we learned some chords down here and chords here, and now we're way up here to play. So let's go ahead and focus on those to start. We're going to start here with our middle finger here on the 9th fret of the C string, and then take your index finger and collapse it on the 8th fret of the E and the A strings here. It's really important to have that, duality of this finger being more recessed while this one's coming more over the top to get a really good tone. It's a lot like a B flat chord. So if you know how to play a B flat, same thing here. And if you struggle with a B flat, this can be a great way to start getting more comfortable with it. So once we're there, this middle finger nice and arced, we're going to play through, and we get that nice F add 9 sound. The next chord here is our A minor 7. Unfortunately, only one thing has to move, but everything about this has to move with our fingers because we need the 7 on the A string to be played in addition to this. So index finger is going to jump down to that 7 on the A. The middle finger is going to come up to the 8th fret on the E string, and the ring finger up here to the 9th fret of the C. So we have 0, 9, 8, 7. And that is our A minor 7 chord. So F, add 9, A minor 7. Love these chords. Now for the strumming, you can see it written here on the tab, and I think this is a little bit confusing. So let's go ahead and warp to it looking like this, which is how I like to write out these types of strum patterns. Now to this point, the first two things we did in the beginner and intermediate version of this, we played strum patterns that repeated twice. This one is a 2-bar strum pattern. What that means is that we're going to play 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and one way the first bar, and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and differently in the second bar. And it's going to use some really unique syncopation. If you remember syncopation from our previous video in the intermediate level, it talked about accents on the offbeat. That's going to be sort of some upstrums when we're strumming. We did syncopation with melody. This is syncopation a little bit more with some strumming. This is actually one of my favorite strum patterns. I do this really fast with some songs. I'll talk more about that in just a moment, but let's go and take a look at it nice and slow, just with our F add 9 chord up here. We're going to start with a down. Miss coming up, then a G, ghost note. What this means is my thumb is going to strike just the G string as I bring the hand down on a strum. If you've never done ghost note strumming, I actually have a tutorial on it. Be sure to check it out. But the gist of it is that you're just going to bring the hand down as the thumb strikes just the G string. We're going to come up, another ghost note, come up, down, miss. So that's 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, but that's only halfway there. The next 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and are going to be a ghost, up, ghost, up, down, miss, ghost, up. So the second half looks something like this. Ghost, up, down, miss, ghost, up. And when we smush them all together, it should sound and look something like this. Down, miss, ghost, up, down, miss, ghost, up, down, miss, ghost, up. This is very confusing if you've never played this before, and it might seem very overwhelming, especially as I'm saying all the motions as I go through. If you look at it closely, though, it's this sort of down, ghost up, down, ghost up, down, ghost up. It's kind of a set of 3, a set of 3, and a set of 2, and that 3-3-2 rhythm creates a really, really cool vibe. So if you're struggling with this, just pause the video and practice it so slowly that you're able to play every movement, and then very gradually increase the speed until you can play it at full speed. And if you're wanting to take it even to the next level yet, increase the speed even more, much faster than what this jam track is doing. This pattern is like a secret sauce pattern. A lot of players use it, and so when I play it at the speed of this song, it's sort of, oh, sorry, I gotta use the higher version of the chord. Sounds cool and all, but here it is really fast. It's like this secret sauce pattern that works so well for a lot of different things, to create a lot of different sounds that you'll hear other players use all the time. Super, super cool pattern. So this is a great way to get, involved with some truly advanced ukulele strum patterns by just doing this nice little cool syncopated pattern. So let's go ahead and listen to what it sounds like with the jam track, which is slower than I was just doing there. Should sound something like this. Switching. Switch. 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 So here this pattern has a very different sound than some of the other ones, and that's sort of by design to create a different type of vibe rhythmically. Now, let's go ahead and hear what the next part here, the advanced finger picking, is going to sound like. I'm going to be using 3 finger picking, and it sounds something like this. Kind of nice sound, right? With the finger picking, we have the same sort of thing that we had with the strumming. It's 2 finger picking patterns, 2 bars, and that's what's making this a little bit more advanced than what we played in the more intermediate. The intermediate was just 1 bar repeated twice with 2 different chords, so 4 total times, right? With this, the pattern takes up 2 bars. So in this case, I like to use 3 finger. We can use 3 or 4 finger picking. Again, videos are linked above, same ones that we worked on with our intermediate stuff. We're going to be playing the same chords up here, no variation whatsoever. And with the 3 finger picking, with our thumb here on the C string, I'm going to pluck that first. And then I'm going to pluck the E and A on the 8th frets together. And there's a trick there, which is this note is a quarter note, and then I'm going to go into 8th notes. So it goes 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and that means there's this little sort of pause between the first note and the second note you want to make sure you play. And after you pluck the E and A, you'll see I'm playing the G, A, E, C, A, using my finger picking of the 3 fingers, so the thumb isn't responsible for the G and the C, index and middle on the E and the A. And then as I go into the next measure here, I'm going to do the same thing to start, play my C, and then my E and A, and then my G, then my A, and then my E. That's all the same as what we played a moment ago. But then I play that 8 on the A, and let that ring out for a moment to finish that pattern. So measure 30, the second part here. 2 quarter notes bookending it. 1 quarter note to start, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and another quarter note at the end. If you don't know rhythmic notation, that's okay. It's okay to just sort of listen to what's going on here. The gist of it is that measure 30, the second part, starts with a note that's worth twice as long value as most other notes and ends with a note that's twice as much as the other notes. And what that means is 29 into 30 will sound like this. Going into measure 31 and 32, same picking pattern, just now over our A minor chord. A minor 7 should not sound like this. Exactly the same thing. And when we listen to that with the recording, it should sound something like this. nice finger picking in a different way. While we're here, let's go ahead and hear what the more advanced melody sounds like. And I think this is the main melody of the song, to be honest, right? It's the one that really stands out when you listen to it. But it sounds something like this going through. So to play this melody, it looks something like this tabbed out. We're going to be using our same thumb technique. And for the most part, we're going to stick to one finger per fret. Now I say for the most part because we will break that rule. We're going to start with the middle finger here on the 8th fret of the A string, using our thumb picking technique. Again, if you've never seen rest stroke before, that's linked just like it was with the other two videos. We're going to play 8, then 7 with the index finger here, then 10 with the pinky on the E, then 8 with the middle, then 10 with the pinky again, and then 8 again with the middle. Quick tip, you don't have to take the middle off there between. You can just play the pinky there on 10 and leave the middle finger where it is. Kind of leave it on, right? But after you've done the 10, 8, 10, 8, we're going to play 9 on the C string, taking your ring finger, placing it there, and then 8 on the E string. So that measure, the first measure of this advanced melody is 8, 7, 10, 8, 10, 8, 9, 8. And that's one finger per fret, index on 7, middle on 8, ring on 9, which isn't played yet. Well, it is on the C string. And then the pinky on 10. So each one of those fingers, it gets a little bit of love in there. But then we go on to measure 34, the second measure of this advanced melody. This is where we break our rule a little bit. It goes up to 12 on the A string. Kick your pinky all the way out there. Play that 12. And then what I like to do is slide the pinky down to 10 on the A. So then I can use my middle here on 8 of the A, and then the pinky on 10 of the A again. By using your pinky up to 12 and sliding it down to 10, you're back to the one finger per fret. That really makes this a lot easier to play. And so the first two measures look something like this. The next two measures here with the A minor 7 are going to be 7 on the A with the index, 8 with the middle finger, 9 with the ring. See how this kind of builds the A minor chord? Kind of neat. And then we're going to go back up to 8 on the E, 10 on the E with the pinky, 8 on the E, 9 on the C, 8 on the E. So very similar to the melody we played over the F add 9, but different. And then we're going to play 10 on the A, 8 on the A, 7 on the A, and 10 on the A, all with the one finger per fret. So that's pinky, middle, index, pinky. So the only time we break form is when we go up to 12 with the pinky, and then we slide right back down to one finger per fret. So in time, this part sounds something like this. And when we put on the jam track, it sounds something like this, which again, I think is the main melody of the tune. And what's cool about this is we can go from here back into our finger picking or our strumming, and they all sound good together because that's the point of the jam track. Hear how bad that flub was? This is the cool thing about jam tracks. You just kind of keep going. If you make a mistake, that's fine. Jump right back in. I can even use the intermediate, maybe with the advanced chords. Pretty cool, right? All that I'm doing here is playing around with these different parts, bring the camera back up, because that's the point of a jam track. You now have 9 different layers that you can experiment with and play and jam with. And each one of those layers, well, you're using different right and left hand techniques. So what if you flip flop? What if you play the chords of a beginner thing with the patterns of the more advanced? It works, and that's what makes this such a fun exercise. Now, if you'd like to download a tab of what you see here, as well as download a long version of this jam track, be sure to check out my Patreon page, as I mentioned before. Otherwise, if you have any questions, feel free to leave them down in the comments, and I hope you have an awesome summer full of jamming using this track. It's a lot of fun to just sort of sit and jam. It's just cool. Make music, have fun. As always, thank you so much. I'll look forward to seeing you on the next tutorial. Thank you.